Beloved, there is a prayer so simple, yet so powerful, that when spoken with faith, it opens the floodgates of supply. It is not hidden because God keeps secrets from you. It is hidden because man has wrapped himself in doubt, fear, and limitation. And yet the prayer is always waiting, alive in the silence, ready to set riches in motion the moment you dare to speak it in faith. What is this hidden prayer? It is the prayer of knowing, not begging, not pleading, not asking in desperation, but knowing. To know is to pray. When you say within yourself, "All that is mine by divine right now comes to me with speed, under grace, and in perfect ways," you are not merely speaking words, you are declaring a law. And the law of God responds instantly, for the spoken word has power. Wealth is not created by toil alone. Wealth is not the reward of anxious effort. Wealth is the manifestation of divine ideas moving through you. One inspired thought, one divine appointment, one door suddenly opening, that is the way instant wealth appears. You are not to struggle for it, but to align yourself with it, through this hidden prayer of knowing. I have said many times, the game of life is a game of boomerangs. Whatever you speak, think, or feel, returns to you multiplied. When you pray with lack in your heart, lack returns. But when you pray with wealth in your spirit, wealth rushes to meet you. There was once a woman who came to me, desperate for money. Her rent was due, and she feared being cast out. I told her, "Do not see yourself poor, see yourself supplied. Declare, my supply is endless, inexhaustible, immediate, and comes to me under grace." She obeyed. Within a day, unexpected money arrived. Her rent was paid in full, and more besides. That is the power of this hidden prayer. It triggers instant wealth because it shifts the unseen currents of spirit, bringing form to your word. The key is not to waver. The hidden prayer does not tolerate doubt. The moment you speak it, you must release it as already answered. You must walk as though wealth is already in your hands. For to man, this is faith. To God, it is law. Say now within yourself, "Wealth of every kind is drawn to me. Riches of opportunity, gold of ideas, abundance of friends, prosperity of every form. These are mine now, under grace and in perfect ways." Feel the truth of it. Do not wait for tomorrow. Wealth is not coming. Wealth is here. Beloved, wealth is the natural state of the child of God. Poverty is only a dream of separation. The truth is abundance, and the truth is eternal. When you align with the hidden prayer, the prayer of knowing, you unlock the treasure house that has always been yours. Therefore, I say to you, cast off fear, cast off doubt. Speak your word of instant wealth boldly, and know that the supply of God is unfailing. Then watch as doors open, opportunities flow, and riches appear in unexpected ways. For the hidden prayer, once spoken, can never fail. Beloved, prayer is not a matter of words repeated in desperation, nor of lips uttering phrases without faith. True prayer is the recognition of truth, the calm, unshakable knowing that what you ask is already accomplished. The hidden prayer that triggers instant wealth is never the prayer of begging, for begging admits lack. The one who begs confesses within their heart, "I do not have, and perhaps I may never have." And that very vibration goes forth, calling to itself more of the same condition. But when you pray from knowing, when you declare, "All that is mine by divine right now comes to me with speed, under grace and in perfect ways," you are no longer begging, you are commanding, you are claiming, you are aligning with divine law. I have said often, words are not idle things. Every word you speak carries the seed of creation. When you pray from fear, you plant seeds of fear, and they grow rapidly, producing after their kind. When you pray from knowing, you plant seeds of faith, and faith always brings forth abundance. This hidden prayer is not hidden because God would conceal it from you, but because man has concealed it from himself, through unbelief, through centuries of thinking God must be persuaded, bribed, or pleaded with. But God is not persuaded. God is principle, God is law, God is love, and law must be fulfilled when the word is spoken in faith. The one who truly prays does not speak many words, they speak with authority, they speak with assurance, they speak as one who knows their inheritance is already theirs. You do not stand at the door of a rich father's house and beg for bread. You walk in and take your place at the table. You do not plead for air to breathe, you inhale freely. So it is with wealth, with money, with every form of supply. It is the natural inheritance of the child of God. To pray is not to cry for it, but to know it, and to call it forth into manifestation. There was once a man who came to me, burdened with debts. He told me he had prayed every night that God might send him relief, but nothing seemed to change. I asked him, "How do you pray?" He answered, "I tell God that I am poor, I tell him I am desperate, and I ask him to send help before it is too late." And I replied, "My dear man, you are only making God your partner in fear. You are praying for poverty, and your prayers are answered faithfully. Instead, speak the word of knowing. Say, I am divinely supplied, every bill is paid in full, my abundance is here, and now, under grace and in perfect ways." He obeyed. Within the week, unexpected money arrived, his debts were settled, and new opportunities opened before him. That is the hidden prayer, beloved. It is not words alone, but the consciousness behind the words, the knowing that releases wealth. When you pray, let there be no trembling in your voice, no trace of uncertainty in your thought. If you say, "All that is mine comes to me," but your heart whispers, "But what if it does not?" you have spoken against yourself. Faith and doubt cannot dwell together. The hidden prayer tolerates no wavering, for the law of supply responds only to certainty. You must train yourself to walk in knowing, to speak as one who already holds the answer in their hands, and when you do, life cannot help but shape itself to your word. You must remember, too, that this prayer is not confined to money alone. Wealth appears in countless forms: ideas, friends, opportunities, favor, open doors. When you know that your supply is sure, the form it takes does not matter, for the form always fits the need. I have seen people pray for a sum of money, and instead they were given a divine idea that produced wealth beyond their request. Others prayed for relief from want, and they were given friends, partners, and helpers who multiplied their blessings tenfold. The hidden prayer does not limit the channels. It simply affirms that supply is present, immediate, and inevitable. Therefore, beloved, do not plead, do not beg, do not lower yourself before the throne of grace as though you were unworthy. You are not an orphan of the universe. You are a child of the Most High. Your word is law, and your knowing is power. Speak the hidden prayer with the calm certainty that wealth is yours, and the universe must obey. Declare, "All that is mine by divine right is here now. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. It comes to me with speed, under grace, and in perfect ways." Say it not once, not timidly, but daily, boldly, until you feel the very vibration of wealth coursing through you. As you continue in this knowing, the truth becomes clearer, and you will see that wealth is not merely to be known in prayer, but also to be lived in consciousness. To know abundance is to walk in abundance, to speak generously, to give freely, to act with confidence. This, too, is prayer, for every act is a word in the language of spirit. When your life becomes a prayer of knowing, then riches cannot be withheld, for they are already yours. And now, having grasped the prayer of knowing, we may go further, for wealth does not flow from labor alone, nor from the mere accumulation of money. True riches flow through divine ideas, and the one who lives in the hidden prayer will be guided step by step into the very ideas that release fortune. Thus, the next truth we must unfold is this: wealth flows through divine ideas, and those ideas come swiftly when the mind is attuned to God. Beloved, once you have learned that prayer is the knowing, the sure recognition that supply is already yours, you must also understand the channels through which this supply flows. Many believe that wealth is earned only by struggle, by weary effort, by constant toil. Yet if this were true, the hardest workers in the world would be the richest, and we know this is not so. Wealth does not flow from the sweat of the brow alone. Wealth flows through divine ideas, those flashes of inspiration, those sudden guidances, those open doors that appear as if by magic, yet are the direct answers to your prayer. When you declare with faith that you are supplied, the Spirit begins to move within you, awakening the ideas that lead to abundance. It may be a new thought for your work, a sudden intuition to change direction, or a nudge to speak to someone at the right moment. These are the golden threads by which riches arrive. You may ask for money, but God often answers by giving you an idea, for the idea is the fountain and the money is but the stream. To live by the hidden prayer is to trust that ideas carry within them the very substance of wealth. I recall a man who longed for financial success but found himself in constant struggle. He believed that only by doubling his efforts, by exhausting his strength, could he prosper. He worked day and night, yet the more he labored, the further he seemed from freedom. I told him, "You must stop pushing against the tide, speak the prayer of knowing, and expect divine ideas to guide you." Reluctantly, he obeyed. He began declaring daily, "My supply is endless, inexhaustible, immediate, and comes to me under grace." Within days he awoke with a clear vision of a new method in his business. It seemed so simple, he wondered how he had not seen it before. He followed it, and in a short time his income multiplied many times over. What his hands could not accomplish through toil, a single divine idea accomplished with ease. This is why I say to you, never despise a thought that comes quietly into your mind after prayer. It may be the very key to your fortune. Spirit whispers, never shouts. A sudden desire to call upon a certain person, a thought to visit a place, or even a persistent vision of a new endeavor. These are the ways wealth enters. Do not pass them by. Act upon them with confidence, for they are the language of God, answering your hidden prayer. Remember that money itself is only a symbol. The true substance of supply is ideas, for ideas are alive, creative, and eternal. Money may pass from hand to hand, but the divine idea that brings money is inexhaustible. One who has wealth without ideas may soon lose it, but one who has divine ideas will never lack, for the supply can be reproduced endlessly, in countless forms. That is why we must not fix our minds upon one channel, saying, "My money must come from here, or from that person, or through this business." No, beloved, your wealth does not come from people, nor from circumstances. It comes from God, and God has 1,000 channels, where you see but one. Divine ideas open those channels. You must not fear if one source of income is cut off, or if one door closes, for spirit is never limited. Often the closing of one door is but the signal that a greater door is opening. The law of supply is unfailing, and divine ideas will always point the way to the richer opportunity, the larger field, the greater blessing. The hidden prayer that you speak with knowing sets these ideas in motion, and soon you find yourself guided, as if by an unseen hand. Wealth that flows from divine ideas is always in perfect order, never forced, never unjust, never bringing harm to another. It comes under grace. That means it comes without struggle, without friction, without the sorrow that so often follows riches obtained by selfishness or greed. When your wealth flows through divine ideas, it blesses not only you but all who are touched by it. The idea lifts you, and it lifts others with you. That is why I tell you, prosperity gained through divine ideas is secure, for it rests upon eternal law. And so, beloved, you must train yourself to listen for ideas. Keep your mind quiet after prayer. Expect the guidance. Do not rush, do not strive, but remain alert and receptive. You will be surprised how swiftly the ideas arrive, and how surely they lead to riches. Say daily, divine ideas never fail. I am attuned to the perfect idea that brings wealth now, under grace, and in perfect ways. And the idea will come, often so simple, you will wonder how you ever missed it. Once you have learned to trust in divine ideas, you will find yourself freed from the heavy belief in labor and limitation. You will begin to understand that your word creates substance, that every idea born of spirit carries with it the power to manifest. And that, beloved, is the next truth we must unfold, that your spoken word is not an idle thing, but a creative force, and that every decree you utter goes forth to fashion your destiny. Beloved, once you grasp that wealth flows through divine ideas, you must also awaken to the truth that your word is the channel through which those ideas take form. For ideas, no matter how radiant, remain but shadows until they are clothed in the garment of speech. Your word is substance. Your word is power. Your word is the tool by which spirit shapes the invisible into the visible. Many speak carelessly, not knowing that every word carries life. Every utterance builds or destroys. Every sentence is a decree sent into the universe to return multiplied. You cannot afford idle words, for the law is exact, and it gives back to you the harvest of your own lips. I have said before, the game of life is a game of boomerangs. Whatever you send out returns. Speak lack, and lack is your harvest. Speak wealth, and wealth must hasten to your door. This is why it is written that by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. A divine idea planted in silence awaits the moment you dare to speak it, for the spoken word releases its energy into form. The one who hides their inspiration in fear, saying, "I dare not utter it, it may fail," has already failed, for silence born of fear is a denial of power. But the one who declares boldly, "This idea prospers, this vision manifests, this word creates wealth now," calls forth the law of supply, and life rushes to clothe that word with substance. There was once a woman who came to me, fearful of losing her position. She spoke constantly of her insecurity, declaring, "I suppose I shall soon be dismissed. I cannot see how I will ever find another situation." I told her, "My dear, you are prophesying your own misfortune. Reverse your words at once, declare instead, 'I am secure in my place. I am divinely protected, my work is established, and greater opportunities open before me." She obeyed, though with trembling at first. But as she persisted in speaking the new word, her fear melted, and within weeks her position was confirmed, and she was given an increase of salary besides. What had changed? Not her employer, but her word, for the spoken word is a magnet, drawing to itself the very conditions it describes. Beloved, do not wait for appearances before you speak. Appearances are but the shadows of yesterday's words and thoughts. If you wait to see riches before declaring wealth, you will wait forever. You must speak it first. The word precedes the manifestation. Just as the seed precedes the harvest, the decree precedes the form. This is why the hidden prayer of knowing is spoken aloud, not kept as a mere wish within the heart. The law requires your utterance, for sound is vibration, and vibration calls forth manifestation. Even idle jesting may bring a bitter harvest. How often do men and women speak lightly of being broke, of never getting ahead, of bad luck, and then wonder why misfortune dogs their steps. Your word is law, whether spoken in jest or in earnest, whether you realize it or not. The universe does not distinguish between humor and seriousness. It only knows vibration, and it reproduces faithfully what you declare. Therefore, let no idle word escape your lips. Speak only that which you desire to see made manifest. Fill your mouth with riches, and riches will fill your life. It is not enough, however, to speak once and then fall back into doubt. Consistency is the key. Your words must form a steady stream of truth, not a broken trickle of affirmation and contradiction. If you declare abundance in the morning, but speak fear by noon, you have planted and uprooted your seed in the same day. You must stand firm, declaring again and again, until your very subconscious is saturated with the truth. Then, and only then, do your words carry irresistible power. One man, beset by financial ruin, came to me saying, "I have declared abundance, but still I see nothing. Perhaps these things do not work for me." I asked him, "How do you speak in the silence of your mind, when no one is listening?" He confessed, "I affirm wealth aloud, but within myself, I constantly say, 'I am ruined, I am undone.'" I told him, "Your inner words are as potent as those spoken aloud. Both must be brought into harmony with truth. Speak only that which you wish to create, within and without." He obeyed, and when his words were unified, his circumstances swiftly turned, and he was restored to prosperity. Therefore, beloved, discipline your tongue, for it is the rudder that steers your ship of life. Every sentence is a decree. Let your words be filled with divine substance. Declare often, "I am rich in divine ideas. Wealth flows to me freely, I walk in abundance." Every word I speak creates prosperity now, under grace and in perfect ways. As you make such declarations, feel the vibration of wealth in your very being, and know that the law is answering. And now, as we go further, you will see that when your words are aligned with truth, they not only create substance, but draw forth the endless, immediate, and inexhaustible supply that has always been waiting for you. For the truth is that your provision is not delayed, nor is it meager. Your supply is immediate, unlimited, and always under grace, flowing without effort when the word has been spoken in faith. Beloved, when you have once spoken the word of truth, you must remember that supply is never far away, never slow, never dependent upon long delays or human calculations. The supply of God is immediate, it is unlimited, and it comes under grace, in perfect and harmonious ways. Many believe they must wait, that their good is somewhere in the distant future, tied up in long processes, hidden behind locked doors. But the truth is, your supply is here and now, closer than your breath, waiting only for your recognition. The moment you declare, "My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate," you open the channel, and life begins to arrange itself for the quick fulfillment of your word. Delay is not of God, delay is of doubt. The Spirit moves swiftly, and when you align your word with divine law, the manifestation comes with speed. I have seen again and again that the answer may appear in an hour, in a day, in the very instant after the word is spoken. Why? Because the good is already prepared. The treasure house of God is full, and nothing is withheld from the one who dares to claim it. It is not that God must create anew, it is that man must open his eyes. Your supply has existed from the beginning, you are only now stepping into the flow. I recall a woman who needed money for a pressing obligation. Her heart was heavy, for the deadline loomed near. She came to me and said, "I fear it is too late. There is no possible way the money can appear." I told her, "You must not speak limitation. Declare instead, this money comes to me now, under grace and in perfect ways." Do not ask how, do not look to people, simply know that it is immediate. She obeyed, and within hours she received an unexpected gift from a relative she had not heard from in years. The sum was exact to the penny. That is the swiftness of spirit when you know your supply is immediate. Now understand, beloved, that immediacy does not mean rashness, nor does it mean forcing conditions. That is why we add, under grace and in perfect ways. Grace is the law of ease, of harmony, of right adjustment. When your good comes under grace, it harms none, and blesses all. Some in their impatience try to seize wealth by dishonest means, and though they may gain for a time, their riches bring sorrow, and their joy is short-lived. But the wealth that comes under grace brings peace, brings freedom, brings joy that endures. You may trust it, for it is secure. The supply of God is also unlimited. Man in his fear thinks there is not enough, that he must compete, grasp, hoard, or cheat to have his portion. But the universe is boundless, and there is enough for all. Your supply is not taken from another, nor is another's supply taken from you. The same sun that shines upon one shines upon all. The same air fills every lung without measure. So too the wealth of God flows without end, and every child may draw as much as they are willing to claim. When you declare, "My supply is unlimited," you break the chains of fear, and you step into the river of inexhaustible abundance. Often I am asked, "But if my supply is unlimited and immediate, why do I not see it now?" And I answer, "Because you have fixed your gaze upon lack. You watch the empty purse, you count the unpaid bills, and you speak constantly of what you do not have. Thus your word has created delay. Turn your eyes away from appearances. Look to God as your source, and speak only of the fullness of supply. The moment you lift your vision from lack to abundance, the flow begins, and what seemed delayed arrives swiftly. Consider also that immediacy means readiness to receive. Many pray for wealth, but when the answer comes, they hesitate, doubt, or turn it aside. The opportunity arrives, but they say, "This is too sudden, too unusual, too strange." Beloved, Spirit moves in unexpected ways. Your supply may come through channels you never imagined. Do not limit God by insisting on a particular method. Declare, "I receive my supply under grace," and trust the form in which it arrives. If it comes as an idea, act upon it. If it comes as a gift, accept it with gratitude. If it comes as an open door, walk through boldly. That is the way of immediacy, quick response to the guidance of Spirit. When you begin to live in this truth, life becomes a series of swift and perfect unfoldments. You ask, and the answer appears. You declare, and the form is shaped. You speak, and the universe responds. This is not because you have bent the law, but because you have aligned with it. You no longer fight against delay, nor strive with effort, but rest in the assurance that supply is immediate, unlimited, and always under grace. And let us remember, beloved, that the immediacy of supply is not only for money, but for every good thing. Health, joy, peace, love, these too are endless and ever-present. You do not wait years for peace is here. You do not wait lifetimes for love is here. The hidden prayer that you speak opens all channels, and all good flows without delay. Therefore, train your lips to declare often, "I walk in abundance, my supply is immediate. My wealth is unlimited, all comes to me under grace, and in perfect ways." As these words become the song of your soul, you will see life reshaped before your eyes, for the law cannot fail. And so, when you understand that your supply is endless, inexhaustible, immediate, and under grace, the next truth unfolds naturally, that the hidden prayer tolerates no doubt. For faith is the very substance of wealth, and only unwavering faith clothes your words with power. Without faith, the word is an empty shell. With faith, it is the living seed of instant riches. Beloved, when you speak the word and declare that your supply is immediate and unlimited, you must guard against the one thief that would rob you of your harvest, doubt. For the hidden prayer tolerates no wavering. Faith is the very substance of wealth. It is the unseen gold, the invisible treasure, the rich soil in which every spoken word takes root. Without faith, the word is like a seed dropped upon stone, unable to sprout. With faith, the word becomes a living seed planted in fertile ground, destined to break forth into visible abundance. Faith is not hoping, it is not wishing, it is not timid expectation. Faith is certainty, it is walking as though the answer were already here, it is behaving as though the door is already open, though your outer eyes see only a wall. Faith is the bridge from the invisible to the visible, and it cannot fail, for it is rooted in the eternal law of God. When you pray with faith, you are not asking if your supply will come, you are affirming that it is already yours. I recall a man who prayed for employment. He declared the words faithfully, but each day he rose heavy with doubt, saying to himself, "It may be weeks, it may be months, perhaps nothing will ever come." His outer conditions reflected his inner uncertainty, doors remained shut, and opportunities slipped away. At last I said to him, "You must act as though the position were already yours. Walk with assurance, prepare yourself as though tomorrow were the day of beginning, give thanks for it now." He obeyed. He purchased new clothing as though for his first day at work, he spoke to friends as if the matter were settled, and each morning he gave thanks for the position. Within a week, he was called to an interview, and the job was his. What had changed? His faith. He stopped wavering, and the law answered, "Beloved, the law of God is exact." Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The substance is always present, though unseen to the natural eye. Faith is the faculty that sees it, claims it, and draws it forth. Doubt is blindness. Doubt denies the substance, denies the law, denies the truth, and leaves the hands empty. This is why the hidden prayer must be spoken in faith. The words alone are not enough. They must be clothed in conviction, in expectancy, in knowing. You must also understand that faith is not strained effort. Faith does not struggle. It does not clench its fists or furrow its brow. Faith is rest. Faith is the calm assurance that the work is already finished. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up daily to see if it is growing. You rest, you water, you trust the process, knowing that in its appointed time the sprout will appear. So it is with your word. Once spoken in faith, it is already working, already drawing supply, already shaping the unseen into form. You need not strive, you need only believe and rest. There was a woman who needed a certain sum of money for her household. She declared daily, "My supply is immediate, under grace," yet her heart trembled. She said to me, "I believe, but I cannot stop worrying." I answered, "You are like a gardener who plants seeds and then digs them up each night for fear they may not grow. Your fear uproots your word. Replace your worry with thanksgiving. Give thanks now as though the money were already in your hand." She obeyed, and each morning she said, "I thank thee, Father, that this money is already mine." Soon afterward, her husband received an unexpected payment from a long-forgotten account. The money arrived to the exact amount. That is faith. It gives thanks before it sees, and in so doing, it brings forth the manifestation. Beloved, faith must be steadfast. The wind of appearances will blow against you. The voices of fear will whisper, "It cannot be done. It is too late, there is not enough." You must answer with the word of truth. It is done. It is never too late. My supply is endless. Each time doubt arises, replace it instantly with faith. Do not argue with appearances, simply deny them. Say, "This is not the truth." The truth is abundance. The truth is wealth. The truth is God's unfailing supply. In this way, your faith grows stronger each time it is challenged. And as faith becomes your constant state, wealth becomes inevitable. Faith is not only the substance of money, but of every good, health, love, peace, joy. When you live by faith, you live in continual manifestation, for life itself bends to your knowing. Faith is the eye that sees the invisible, and what you see with faith must one day stand before you in form. Therefore, let your faith be bold. Speak your prayer as though the riches were already in your grasp. Walk as though every bill is already paid, every need already met, every desire already fulfilled. And as you do, the universe rushes to confirm your faith, for faith is law in action, and law cannot fail. And now, beloved, having learned that faith is the very gold of the unseen and the power that clothes your words with form, we must step into the greatest truth of all, that wealth is not something you must strive for or earn through struggle. It is your divine inheritance, your eternal birthright as a child of God. Poverty is a false belief, but abundance is the truth that has been yours from the beginning. Beloved, when you have once laid hold of faith as the very substance of wealth, you are ready to awaken to the greatest truth of all, that abundance is your divine inheritance. You are not here to earn it through endless toil, nor to beg for it, as though you were a stranger at God's gate. You are a child of the infinite, and wealth in every form, money, opportunities, favor, friends, health, joy, is yours by birthright. Poverty is not truth, it is a false belief, a shadow born of fear, ignorance, and separation. The truth is abundance, and the truth is eternal. The prodigal son, wandering in lack, did not need to create his inheritance. It was already his. All that was required was his return to the Father's house, and the robe, the ring, and the feast were waiting. So it is with you. You may have wandered in the desert of want, believing yourself cut off from supply. But the moment you return in faith, the treasures of the Father's house are restored, not created anew, but restored, because they were yours all along. The hidden prayer is the key to this restoration, for it is the word that claims your divine inheritance. So many live under the illusion that riches belong only to the few, that opportunity is scarce, that life is a hard struggle. They see themselves as beggars in a rich world, pleading for crumbs. But the law of God knows no favorites. The same sun shines on all, the same law of supply operates for all. If one man prospers while another struggles, it is not because God has chosen, but because one has claimed his inheritance and the other has denied it. The riches of the kingdom are open to every soul who dares to speak, "I am a child of God, and wealth is mine now, under grace and in perfect ways." I knew a woman who lived in constant fear of poverty. Though she had all she needed, she spoke continually of lack, hoarded her money, and shrank from generosity. She said, "I must be careful, or I shall end in want." I told her, by claiming want, you are denying your inheritance. You are like a princess in a palace, who refuses to eat for fear the food will run out. At first she laughed at my words, but when her fears brought about actual losses, she came again, humbled. She began declaring, "I am a child of God, and wealth flows to me freely." Slowly, her fear dissolved. She gave with joy, she spoke abundance, and in time, her finances multiplied beyond her former measure. By claiming her inheritance, she stepped out of the prison of poverty into the freedom of abundance. Beloved, it is not money alone that forms your inheritance. It is the riches of every kind. Money without peace is torment. Money without health is useless. Money without love is barren. True wealth is wholeness, and all of it belongs to you as a child of the divine. Say often, "I inherit peace, I inherit health, I inherit joy, I inherit riches of every kind." These words awaken you to the fullness of life, and soon the outer will reflect the inner claim. You must cast out the old false teaching that poverty is holy or that lack makes one virtuous. Poverty is not virtue, it is ignorance of truth. Did not the Master say, "It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom"? And what is the kingdom but abundance in every form? To live in lack when abundance is offered is to refuse the gift of God. True holiness is to accept your inheritance with gratitude and to use it for good. When you are rich in supply, you are able to bless others, to give freely, to express the fullness of life. Poverty serves no one, but abundance blesses all. Some may say, "But if wealth is my inheritance, why have I lived so long without it?" And I answer, because an inheritance must be claimed. It does not force itself upon you. The law waits for your word. Imagine a man whose name is written on a vast estate, but he never comes forward to claim it. The estate lies unused, though it belongs to him. So too, your wealth waits upon your recognition. The hidden prayer is the legal claim. When you declare, "All that is mine by divine right is now released to me," you sign the paper, you take possession, and the inheritance flows into form. The beauty of this truth is that nothing can prevent your inheritance once it is claimed. No person, no condition, no past mistake can rob you of what God has given. Others may seem to hinder, but only for a moment, for the law sweeps aside all obstacles. The word spoken in faith is irresistible, and your supply must appear. You may look back and see years lost in struggle, but once you awaken, restoration is swift. God makes up the years the locust has eaten, and your good appears in multiplied measure. Beloved, know this wealth is your divine inheritance, not by the labor of your hands, but by the decree of God. Claim it with boldness. Declare, "I am a child of the infinite. My inheritance is abundance. I walk in riches. I live in peace. I rejoice in plenty. All that is mine comes to me now, under grace and in perfect ways." Let this be your song, your prayer, your daily declaration, until every shadow of lack is dissolved, and you stand in the sunlight of plenty. And as you live in this truth, giving, receiving, rejoicing in your inheritance, you will find life reshaped into a constant miracle. For you are not merely surviving, you are reigning. You are not a beggar at the gate. You are a son or daughter of the Most High, seated at the banquet of endless supply. And as you take your place, wealth flows not only to you but through you, blessing all who come within your circle. Beloved, you have now walked with me through the hidden prayer, through the law that governs wealth, through the word that creates, through the faith that manifests, and into the revelation that abundance is your divine inheritance. And what is the message that rings out from all these truths? It is this: you are not poor, you are not bound, you are not forgotten, you are rich, free, and forever remembered by the infinite. The supply you seek is already yours, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The treasures of heaven are stored for you, not in some distant time, but here and now, awaiting your claim. Poverty is only the dream of fear. Abundance is the eternal reality of God's law. And when you pray, not as a beggar, but as a knower, you unlock the storehouse and watch the floodgates of wealth swing wide. Take these words with you, not as mere phrases, but as living seeds. Speak them daily. All that is mine by divine right comes to me now, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak them until your mind is renewed, until your heart is steadfast, until your affairs blossom in perfect order. For as surely as the sun rises, the law responds. Go forth then, not in anxiety, but in confidence. Walk as one who carries the hidden prayer within, the prayer that does not plead, but commands in love and faith. Live as the heir of divine riches, and you will see doors open, debts dissolve, opportunities unfold, and miracles multiply. And as you prosper, remember that your wealth is not yours alone. It is a channel through which God's good flows into the world. Rejoice, therefore, in the fullness of life. Rejoice that you are free from the old beliefs of lack. Rejoice that every need is met before it is spoken, every desire fulfilled before it is formed. The hidden prayer has unlocked your inheritance, and nothing can shut it again. Beloved, abundance is your birthright, supply is your portion, and wealth is your song. Claim it, live it, share it, and watch as heaven and earth conspire to shower you with blessings beyond measure.